Hello, welcome everyone to the Thursday Night Book Club with MNPC. I am William Flay, your host, and tonight we have a very special guest from Belgium, Celine Gaza, and very welcome, Celine. So today we're just going to speak for a few moments about your training as a mindfulness teacher and what that was like, and maybe a little bit about where you feel you are culturally, and I guess where you feel, what do you feel your practices as a mindfulness teacher, has that changed? I've got a lot of questions, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers have a lot of questions as well. So welcome. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, thank you so much. So I'm a certified mindfulness trainer, and I also do some performance arts, singing, dancing, playing. I love being on stage. And I work a lot with my mindfulness background, because I did the teacher training to be able to guide the 8 weeks MBSR.
Mm-hmm.
And this is really my base that I use also in my artwork and in my work as a trainer.
Okay. And so tell me what brought you to mindfulness? What was that hook that you said, I have to train as a teacher?
Yeah, so I traveled in Southeast Asia like 12 years ago when I was in early 20s, and I became familiar with Buddhism. I really liked it, but then years passed by, and after a heartbreak, actually, I went to do a Vipassana retreat. And during this Vipassana retreat, I had like a mind blow, like, wow, this I have to teach. I have to learn how I can share this knowledge. It's too sacred or something. So I did a teacher training in Brussels. The only thing I found was MBSR. Also, I was in a very difficult time of my life at that moment because I wanted to live in Australia, but my visa was not accepted. So I was really down. And then I was like, okay, let's do something. And I did that.
Okay. So it was a moment of exploring a Vipassana retreat that then led you to training in the MBSR model. And how long ago was this? And tell me a little bit about how you found the course, especially around the cultural diversity area, the EDIs. How did you find that?
The course I found, I think I looked on internet, and it was in 2018. Yes, in 2018. And I wanted to do the course in English, but as you know, maybe the languages of Belgium are Dutch and French.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one school doing it in English. So I did that because in my head, I would go back to Australia, but I'm still in Belgium, of course. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember if there were a lot of varieties, and I also didn't know a lot about the different courses. But then I arrived there in the group, and of course the group was mainly actually majority white because we are in a white country, and I was the only person of color, actually, if I remember well. Yes. And so there I already, you know how it is when you do a course or when you arrive somewhere and you're the only one, you're like, okay, will there be awareness about that? I was very lucky because actually my teacher was mixed race, Burma from Burma and England. So I had a little bit of this in the group, but still, when I got my certificate and I could go and teach, even during the teacher training, I thought, I need to give this to my community, and how can I give this? How can it be more adapted? Because I found it very focused on the Western culture and the white culture. Nowadays, years after, I really integrate more voice and embodiment, body movement into my private sessions or group sessions, because I think it's something I have from my culture, and that's helped me a lot to heal.
And this sounds really fascinating. So I'm wondering what of your culture that you're actually putting into your work. So what actually comes out, what emerges when you're with your clients, when you're in the social and community work that you're doing? What's there already that's actually adding flavor, to the MBSR?
I think it's really about wisdom that we have already. So my dad is Congolese and my mom is Polish, but both parents were very musical. So I grew up musically, first of all. But then I really sing since I'm very little, and it has a healing effect. And so I also notice, for example, if I lead a group and that we hum together or we start singing together, it's wisdom that we have from our ancestors. It's something very natural that comes and that is there, and it's just like dancing. I had one day an African woman from my racial affinity group, because I did one, I started one a year ago. And she was saying, but why are we sitting still? It doesn't help. I need to dance, I need to move. And I think it's about a balance between those two. Yes, we need to move, but we also need to sit still and to notice and observe what's happening. But then we also need to shake it out. And for some it doesn't work, but I think in the communities where I work, a lot of people of color, African diaspora here in Belgium, they need this movement and this more actually artistic way of living mindfulness, kind of.
So I'm going to ask you to give us a little sample of the humming, something that you would do, put you on the spot.
Well, my work, in my work, I have two books I'm inspired from, and these are like a little bit like my Bibles. It's the book of Resmaa Menakem, My Grandmother's Hand, and also Ruth King, Mindful of Race.
Oh yeah.
And it's really about touching. Resmaa is talking about touching your vagus nerve here, but you can also touch your heart and ground yourself by humming. And we can really do it together, breathing in and breathing out, you hum. And actually, it's really something that comes naturally. For example, when I'm with my African aunties, they have this naturally they are cooking and they are humming, or they do my hair and they are humming while I am in pain. But it comes really naturally with this community of African diaspora, I would say. And that's the group I work with for now. Because I don't think, especially if we talk about racial trauma, affinity groups, you know, I'm not ready to work in white groups, because, as you know, probably it's another complication to be mixed race. And so it's dealing with the blackness and the whiteness in one body. And because I grew up in a white country, I'm dealing now with healing the blackness, the black body in me.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess you're talking about an extra layer of dimension that a lot of us people of color have to train in. Well, not train in, is our lived experience, but I guess there's an extra added dimension of safety, and I guess there is a certain amount of training and knowledge and support and infrastructure, all of that we need, that white students or white teachers don't need. But I guess if you're mixed race, I think you're saying that even that adds another dimension to the intersectionalities, the more complex. So what holds this all together? What keeps you going then?
I think what keeps me going is really that I want to love unconditionally. So it's complicated because, of course, I have wounds. You know, the history of Belgian Congo. I got the genes of my dad. You know about epigenetics. I mean, I have this intergenerational trauma of Congolese people in me. But what keeps me going is that I think I talk a lot to my ancestors from both lineages, from Polish lineage and Congolese lineage. And I think it's not for nothing that I'm both. And then I need to embrace both and love both unconditionally. It's just, for now, I'm doing it bit by bit, step by step. And yeah.
And I was going to say, you know, that the Polish are no strangers also to genocide, you know, in the most recent history. So yeah, I mean, working with the ancestors is becoming a real feature of the work that we do here in MNPC. And yes, somatically, I'm hearing that the humming, I've been recently doing overtoning, we've been doing some Tibetan chanting, and that's really made a difference to how I've been processing trauma. And I am seeing this a lot with a lot of our colleagues, a lot of our teachers, as we build this structure, that there's a lot of trauma that is underneath the surface as we're trying to work, as we're trying to set up these programs and trying to find the mechanisms and the support that is really not really there yet. You know?
Yeah, that's why I would encourage people of color actually to do those trainings, but to own them. Like, yes, follow the training and take the basic, the skills. But we all have, actually, if we are talking about ancestors, we all have this wisdom, this ancestral wisdom inside of us, and we have those tools were made to help us. And why it is important for me, for people of color to do those trainings is also because just like school, I miss role models. You have a little bit more in the US and the UK, but in Belgium, I have, not that I know of, maybe I can name one or two Black teachers. When I go to schools, I don't see Black teachers. So I hope there will be more and more holistic healers, mindfulness teachers, alternative medicine healers, but of color. Yes, so our kids and everyone have also role models. That's what I miss.
Yeah, and I feel that, I really feel that. And I feel also that we're the first generation of mindfulness people of color teachers. And I guess also everything that we do for the next generations, all this infrastructure. And so your presence and your training, everything that you're doing is really appreciated. So with great respect, thank you so much for sharing your work. And just before we go, tell us your website and your where our guests can find you.
Yeah, it's very easy. It's Mindfulness by Celine because I personalized it. So the website is mindfulnessbyceline.com, Mindfulness by Celine on Instagram, and Celine is like Celine, like you see it here. So no, thank you, and thank you for the support of MNPC and this network. Yeah, it's growing. I see it from a few years now, I think, a couple of years maybe. And I appreciate what you do. So thank you also very much for your work.
Thank you.